Morning everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of Wired for Success. You probably noticed a slight change this month in that our usual host Manny has stepped aside. He's still with us, sat behind the camera this week. I'm sure he'll interject if he sees things going slightly astray. So on today's episode, we've got our managing director with us, Paul James. We're going to discuss a few things about coming up in 2024 and beyond.
A bit about branding, the culture.
I know that's a big topic.
It is.
And we've also got our 10th and newest employee, Jason Yeoman, who joined us in February as head of sales and marketing. So we're gonna get into it with
Great
Jason.
to be here,
Really,
guys. Thank you.
appreciate it, mate.
Welcome.
So this is where I've got both the directors, so I can ask you for a pay rise, right? Yeah, it's only been.
You
2
can
months.
always ask, Jason. You can always ask.
You can always You're also still within your 3-month probation.
Yeah. Well, things aren't working out, Jason. Anyway, no, great. Thanks, guys.
So I know it's been a pretty eventful first couple of months for you, Jason. So just thought you might be able to give the audience a bit of a heads up on your background and maybe a couple of fun facts about Jason.
A couple of fun facts about Jason. I'll start with the fun facts because I've been thinking about these for at least 20 minutes. Fun facts. So the first fun fact is since being very, very young, I've been massively into combat sports up until being about 21. So I've fought kickboxing, I've been involved in MMA and stuff like that. So always been involved in fitness and that kind of thing. So I've actually stepped in the ring and
So
had...
are you saying we shouldn't sack you within 3 months then?
I don't think you've got much choice, to be honest.
Because you'll beat us up.
That's not what I'm saying.
It sounds
but
it's like
Just being implied.
it was a subtle.
subtle, yeah. So maybe I should have mentioned that one before I applied. Strangely enough, it wasn't on my CV. But if I ever am on a podcast episode with a black eye, then at least you know why.
I'm on a podcast episode with a black eye.
Then at least everyone else will know why.
Is it something you still engage in?
No, I've not done it for probably about 3 or 4 years. My mum told me I was too pretty and that I needed to stop. Which leads me on to my second fun fact, is that I was actually scouted to be a model by Nemesis Models in Manchester. So where's the camera one?
So not only are you tough, you're good looking.
Yeah, too good looking to be tough. That's the problem. And my last fun fact is I can actually beatbox as well. So
Oh, go on.
Oh, no.
Come on.
Say that. It's not Britain's Got Talent.
I'd say that's fantastic, Jason, but I don't have a clue.
yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'll be in touch now.
Yeah, there we go. So if I get stolen for a talent show after this, I'll remember where I came from, guys. Don't worry.
Appreciate that, mate. And you did also serve in the Air Cadets.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's quite a...
A aspiration of Chris's, isn't it? Because
It
he
is,
likes
yeah,
his
yeah.
flying and stuff like that. So obviously I know a lot about principles of flight and planes and military aircraft, which
he's already bored me for
yeah.
a good 10 minutes on that.
yeah. So yeah, I was an air cadet as well. So 4 fun facts. Yeah, completely forgot about that.
4 for the price of 3.
So on a slightly more serious note, Jason, can you just give us maybe a bit of a heads up as to what led you to apply for the job at Red Rock?
Well, so after successfully selling the website to you guys, knowing who, so you guys know who I was, you knew that I had sales talent. But no, on a serious note, when I applied for the role, after kind of engaging with you guys, knowing who you were, seeing the company, and getting to know you, I knew that you were doing some really good stuff inside, things like the charity space, just generally having a really good name for yourselves as a business. I thought, you know what, that's something that I can get on board with and actually sell and work with and help grow. So, and coming from digital marketing agency backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, because your background was actually, I know you worked for Fujitsu, 10 years ago?
Oh god, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I know you've got a technology background, but you then moved more into marketing and sales.
But I moved completely out of. So I was actually inside service delivery, so managing service desks, and then I moved into service delivery inside Xerox. So I was actually always service based, but
Right.
I actually decided that I was actually doing some research on LinkedIn, and I saw that all the CEOs of companies and people had always been inside sales roles. And I thought, do you know what? I don't actually know anything about front of house. And I wanted to learn more about sales. And I've always been super chatty, and people have just been like, have you ever thought about doing it? And I just thought, you know what? Why not? And just completely changed my career after uprooting and moving to Bracknell, and then decided, I'm going to do the sales thing, and then came all the way back up north. So.
I think it's an interesting point you make there. It's not going slightly off topic about CEOs that often have the sales background. I know it's something we chatted about. Something I've chatted with people about, and I'm a big believer in the reason behind that is because working in sales, you do get a lot of learning to deal with no's and negatives, and that then in itself leads to being able to actually run a successful business. Do you think that's...
Yeah, I think it's definitely a contributing factor, because there's obviously a lot of resilience that comes with having to run a successful business or being an entrepreneur. You've got to take a lot of failure and then kind of move on with that.
Yeah, it's that ability, isn't it, to sort of always get back up.
Yeah,
always
stay positive.
Always push on, and and that's something that Paul, you're pretty good at. I think that's one of the redeeming characters.
I don't have many. Right, you're going with that one.
Being humble is one of them, obviously. As well.
No, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
What about that?
Cool. So, again, trying to keep this on track somewhat. Yeah. I think it's always interesting, certainly with our MD and how we've learned through. Again, you're the 10th employee, actually the 11th. And how we change our processes. So I know our onboarding process was slightly different with Jason than it was for the previous employee. So I just think it'd be fantastic if you could give the audience a bit of feedback and a bit of insight into how that went for you. And again, feedback for PJ. You've got a captive audience at the minute, so let's take the opportunity to...
If you do remember that bits of this can be edited, so whatever
Absolutely.
It is that PJ says to me afterwards, you'll all never know. No, but so the feedback in terms of the process. So I think it's just we was quite open and was talking about things during the interviews, and we're going through a process in terms of what is it that we want to achieve, how we're going to get there, and stuff like that. And I think that in terms of coming on board, luckily I did have a bit of a technical background, but ultimately when you're inside when you're inside a sales role, it's about building the relationships with the people, not necessarily being experts in the product or the service in itself.
I think that old cliche of people buy off people
is very true.
Yeah.
Because if not, everything had just become very transactional and a race to the bottom.
Very commodity based, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's something we've chatted about and something we want
to
very much steer away from at Red Rock.
Yeah.
We want to have the value and the people what essentially brings the value.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. So, and in terms of the process, in terms of onboarding, super open. Everyone's been great. Got to meet the team. I've got along with everyone super well. I say that. I mean, you don't know what everyone's saying behind my back, do I? No, I'm joking. No, but nothing but great feedback from everyone. And what I've really seen is that everyone actually really wants to put the customer first. And the thing that really excited me about Red Rock when I started, and what I've realised really quickly is, as you guys have kind of come about, you've put this level of customer service, and you've got these people and these customers that really care about you as a business. And it's like you've already got that strong foundation to be a very, very, very successful business in terms of from a growth perspective. If you can bottle that and explain it and show it to new customers, it's a no-brainer for them to turn around and go, oh, okay, these guys actually care about my business. It's mutually beneficial for us to work together, and they want to see us grow just like they want to grow themselves. And I think that in itself is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And it's a really powerful message to kind of get out there to people.
Yeah, I know it's something we've chatted about when we've been on the road, isn't it? Sort of, we've got this really good foundation, but as you know, our background's very much technical.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a really fortunate position to get where we've got, but in order to kind of grow that and leverage the skills we've got, we obviously, we need to go into that sort of sales and marketing role, which, as you know, isn't it's certainly not our natural environment.
Absolutely not. And this is the thing. So I think from a sales and marketing perspective, the strategy that's previously been implemented, whether you've realised it or not, is that you have done a really good job, which has created a referral process, and people have turned around and said, we want to work with you because you've worked with this person and they said you're very good. And that in itself is a sales and marketing strategy, but doing a good job is, so important. And it's then obviously helped us grow and get to that point. As people leave some of the businesses that we're currently working with and then enter new businesses, like an inquiry that actually came in the other day, someone contacting us saying, I used to work for X company and they've turned around and I know that you're dead good at what you do. Can you please come in and talk to us about phone systems?
And I think from an owner's point of view, I think there's nothing better, is there, than getting that referral.
Yeah.
That people remember the work that you've done over the past, 5 years, and it's actually meant something. So that's, again, fantastic, really. So it's been 2 months now. So give us some feedback, good, bad, ugly,
Remember,
anything.
Why couldn't we have filmed this on month 4 after my probation?
I just have extended it.
Yeah. No, it's been. I've really, really enjoyed it. I found it absolutely excellent. It's probably, and this is going to sound really cheesy and really corny, but coming to work has probably been one of the favourite parts of my day, in terms of being able to work with everyone. The office, we have a good laugh, but we get loads of work done. You hear about everything that's kind of going on in the office in terms of things that Sarah's doing, the podcast in terms of being quite creative and different inside the telecoms industry, the rebrand, loads and loads and loads is happening inside the company. And it's just, and sometimes you sit there and it's what have we done today? And then it's actually, if you look at today compared to last week, we're moving forward, but there's just so much happening.
Yeah, I think I find that there's, until you sit and reflect and actually look back. I mean, where we were a year ago versus where we are today is just leaps and bounds. I think a lot of that comes down to Paul and the great work he's been doing on culture and just driving things forward as a business.
Soljo's awesome.
Yeah. and this is the thing. So from a culture perspective, I can see it growing and developing as well. But you've also already got a really good team culture in terms of everyone wants to chip in, everyone wants to kind of do the bit. I feel like everyone enjoys being there. And not only that, it's the stuff that's come in with EAP, wrong one, EAP, and the rewards gateway and stuff like that, and how I'm seeing this investment inside employees, which for a small company, not a lot of businesses do that because they see it as an expense, not an investment. And I think that kind of mind shift says a lot about where the business is going to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know it's something you put a lot of energy in. I know we'll touch on this later. But do you want to maybe give the audience a bit of a background on the EAP scheme and where that came about from?
Yeah, we work with a HR. I mean, it's always something I've had a passion for anyway, the culture of the business anyway. But yeah, we just wanted to bring things in this year that could make a big difference, that weren't going to break the bank. So we had a couple of meetings with HR and one with the Growth Hub. And one of the suggestions was a rewards gateway and an employee assistance program. And the value for money is phenomenal. It's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah,
what you get from it is.
I know one of the first things we chatted about when we sort of started the journey with our business coach, and when we first started to employ people, was our perception was it was just about money, wasn't it? When we first went into that very first meeting, and we very quickly realised money is probably one of the fourth or fifth things.
Yeah, it's. I think if you get the culture right and everything else, the money will take care of itself.
Yeah,
you don't need to focus on it. You need to focus on the culture, building the business, doing it right, getting the right people in, treating them well. Everything else will come from it.
Yeah. So do you hear that, Jason? Next time you come for your commission to Mr. James,
it's not all.
Yeah,
about
it's not all about. It's not all about money. I think it works both ways, that though. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously doing that naturally makes you more money because it brings in more business.
Yeah.
Which then means you can do more, bring in more people, make more money. It's self-fulfilling.
Very good. And then one of the things you found at Red Rock that kind of sets us apart, I think you've kind of touched on that a little, but could you maybe dig a bit deeper?
Yeah, it's definitely the way that we put customers first. And it sounds like a cheesy sales line and blah, 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 but it's actually really true. And I've seen it happen in terms of people that we've been out to see. You know, me and Alex have gone out to go and see people all the way in Meltham who have had service put in place that hasn't been great. And we have literally been on the phone to their providers fixing issues when they've been in contracts. And it's like, well, you know, we might not actually get anything out of this except for a little bit of a support.
It's kind of going the extra mile, isn't it? And just customer centric. And like you say, it is very cliched, but I think a fantastic example would be not last Friday, the Friday before, and the little journey down to was it RJ's Cafe?
Oh yeah, in Oldham.
Yeah. At 2:00 on a Friday afternoon.
Before a bank holiday weekend.
Yeah, the pub was calling.
Yeah, but it definitely was. So we get a phone. I'll actually tell the story. So we get a phone call. We get an inquiry come in, and it's just it comes from one of our providers. So I speak to the owner of this cafe, and she turns around and says to me, she goes, "Oh, I don't have any internet, and I'm opening on Monday, and it's bank holiday weekend." And I'm like, right, okay. Like, how are you going to take payments? So she turns around and goes, "Oh, well, I don't know. No phone number, no internet." But the big problem was that she was getting a sign made for the business so that she could open the shop. But so she needed a static phone number to then put on the sign, which then so literally, I get off the phone, I turn around and speak to Paul Bate, not Paul James. And I say, we need to help this person out. Like, my heart was bleeding, like a brand new business. Didn't really, obviously had loads of problems trying to get internet, like business internet fitted, like to the cafe. Needed the internet to be able to run and operate, like to take payments, go through that process. And it's just like, what can we do?
What can we do?
What can we do to get this working? And, you know, we got there on Friday afternoon. By the time at 4 o'clock?
I think it was more like 5.
Maybe okay,
it was more like 5, Jason.
I think I'm just trying to make it.
Yeah, you rang me up. What can we do, Paul? Oh, right, okay. I think we had a 4G router, didn't we? Sat in the office, so we stopped at the local shop, picked up a 4G SIM card.
Yeah,
got that hooked up, and just I think by 6:30.
All done.
Had some connectivity.
Yeah, tested it, ran test payments, everything was working. Phone number was set up, that was working, and by that time everything was ready. And then she was able to open on time, which obviously to them as a business is super important. And you know, then the expand, you know, being able to take Uber orders and things like that inside the area and just stuff like that. And you know, that's only a small cafe that we've kind of gone out there to help and kind of do as bit to help the Oldham community, because we know that it's.
But it was massive, wasn't it, for that company?
Yeah, exactly. To us, it was not much at all, really, in the grand scheme of things, in terms of, you know, what we'd make out of something like that. But what we've done for that customer is unbelievable. Like, you know, she's been trying to get hold of other providers and get something put in place for ages, and it's not worked. But then when she gets hold of us, it's done like that.
Well, you'd be glad to know the guys are down there today.
Yeah.
Putting their, I think it's a Segia circuit they've had installed today. So
I think they'll be right now.
They are, yes.
Yeah. Should call Alex and see how he's getting on.
So obviously,
bacon butty either.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, that's a good point. So.
Payment in bacon sandwiches.